Tool use by AI models. System, Gemma 427B model on mini PC with no GPU, 8 TPS. When we say an AI model can use tools, we mean that the model has been given the ability to interact with external software, APIs, or functions to perform actions or retrieve information that it cannot access through its own training data alone. By default, a large language model, LLM, is like a person sitting in a dark room with only their memory to rely on. They are very smart, but they don't know what happened this morning, and they can't see outside. Tools provide the windows and hands for that person. Tool use, often called function calling, follows a specific loop. 1. The prompt. You ask a question, for example, what is the price of Apple stock? 2. The reasoning. The model realizes its training data is outdated and decides it needs a tool. 3. The call. The model outputs a structured command like code or JSON to call a specific tool. 4. The execution. An external system runs that command and feeds the result back to the model. 5. The final answer. The model reads the new data and answers you in plain English. 10 examples of tool usage. Here are 10 different ways a model might use tools to solve problems. 1. A web search engine, real-time information. Scenario. You ask, who won the game between the Lakers and the Warriors last night? The tool. A Google or Bing search API. Why it's used. The model's training data ended months ago. It needs to browse the live internet to find recent news. 2. A Python interpreter. Complex math/logic. Scenario. You ask, calculate the 100th Fibonacci number and tell me its prime factors. The tool. A sandboxed Python code execution environment. Why it's used? LLMs are notorious for making mistakes in long-form arithmetic. Writing and running actual code ensures mathematical precision. 3. A calculator. Basic arithmetic. Scenario. You provide a list of 50 different prices and ask for the total, including tax. The tool. A simple calculator function. Why it's used. It offloads the heavy lifting of arithmetic to a system that is 100% accurate, preventing hallucinated numbers. 4. A calendar API, scheduling. Scenario. You say, check if I am free next Tuesday at 2 p.m. and book a meeting with Sarah. The tool. Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook API. Why it's used. The model cannot see your private schedule unless it has permission to read and write to your calendar via an integration. 5. A database query. Enterprise data. Scenario. A company employee asks, how many blue shirts did we sell in the Midwest region last quarter? The tool. An SQL, structured query language, executor connected to a company database. Why it's used? The model doesn't know the company's private sales figures. It needs to write a query to pull that specific data from a secure server. 6. A file system/PDF reader, document analysis. Scenario. You upload a 200-page legal contract and ask, is there a termination clause? The tool. A PDF parsing/retrieval tool, often called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Why it's used. The model cannot hold an entire massive book in its immediate memory. The tool searches the document for relevant keywords and feeds only the important snippets to the model. 7. An image generation engine, multimodal creation. Scenario. You say, create a futuristic poster of a cat wearing sunglasses. The tool. DALL-E 3 or Midjourney API. Why it's used. Text models generate words, not pixels. They must trigger a separate diffusion model to actually render the image. 8. a weather API environmental data. Scenario. You ask, should I pack an umbrella for my trip to London tomorrow? The tool. Open Weather Map API. Why it's used. Weather is constantly changing. A tool allows the model to pull a real-time forecast rather than guessing based on historical averages. 9. A smart home controller. IoT integration. Scenario. You say, it's getting dark in here, make it more comfortable. The tool. An API connected to smart bulbs and thermostats, like Philips Hue or Nest. Why it's used? The model interprets the intent, make it comfortable, and translates it into a command for the hardware to dim the lights. 10. A translation/dictionary service, linguistic precision. Scenario. You ask, what is the deep etymological root of the word clandestine? The tool. An Oxford English Dictionary API, or a linguistic database. Why it's used. While models are good at language, specialized tools can provide verified, authoritative academic definitions that are more reliable than probabilistic guesses. How do I tell a model to use a tool? There are two ways to answer this. How you, the user, tell it to use a tool through prompting, and how a developer tells the model it is allowed to use a tool via code. 1. For the user, prompting for tool use. As an end user, for example, using ChatGPT or Claude, you don't actually program the tool use. You simply provide a task that requires it. You trigger tool use by asking questions that cannot be answered by the model's internal memory alone. Triggering search. Instead of asking, what is the capital of France, which it knows, ask, what is the current temperature in Paris right now? This forces the model to realize, I don't know this. I must use my search tool. Triggering code/math. Instead of asking, what is 1,234 times 5,678? Ask, calculate 1,234 multiplied by 5,678, and then find the square root of the result. This complexity signals to the model that it should use a Python interpreter rather than guessing the math. Triggering data analysis. Upload a CSV file and say, create a bar chart showing the trend of sales over time from this data. You are explicitly instructing the model to use its data analyst tool. 2. For the developer, defining the tool the technical way. If you are building an app using an API, like OpenAI's GPT-4o or Anthropic's Claude, you don't just ask it to use a tool. You must provide a definition of what that tool is. You do this by passing a list called tools in your API call. This definition must include three things. A, the name. A clear, unique identifier. For example, get_weather_data. B, the description, the most important part. This is how the model learns when to use it. You write a natural language description of what the tool does and what kind of questions should trigger it. Bad description, a function for weather. Good description, use this tool to retrieve the current temperature and humidity for a specific city. Input should be the city name. C, the parameters, the schema. You define exactly what information the model needs to extract from the user's prompt to make the tool work, using JSON schema. If the tool is get_weather, you tell the model, you must extract a parameter called location, which is a string. Example of what the code looks like, simplified, JSON, open brace dot, name, get_stock_price, description, get the current stock price for a given ticker symbol, parameters, quote type quote colon, quote object quote comma, properties, quote symbol, quote colon, open brace, dot, quote type quote colon, quote string, quote comma, Description. The stock ticker symbol, for example, AAPL, TSLA. Required, symbol, summary, user, contextual prompting. Asking questions that require external facts, math, or files. Developer, function definition, writing clear descriptions so the model knows when and how to call the code. Do you know that any private information you put into a cloud AI is used to train that AI? A private AI running on your own hardware is the best way to keep your private data private. I can help you set up a private AI on almost any PC or server. Contact me for a free consultation. If you get value from these blogs, please consider joining my Patreon as a member at the $2, $4, or $8 level. There are more than 400 previous blogs on my Patreon page, https://www.patreon.com/Steve Hovland.